Coming up on tonight's show, we've got Marty Tripes with an interview with Jerry Maddox. They caught up with each other this weekend in Blythe, California. We're going to be bringing that to you. In the What's It Worth segment, 2 Honda CR125s in one auction. We've got trivia coming up. Did you know with Jeff Kokoski? All that and much, much more on tonight's show.
Hi, I'm Marty Tripes. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
I'm Joe Abbate. Thank you for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We're happy to have you here tonight. Don't forget, whether you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, please give us a share. And on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. As I just mentioned a moment ago, we've got Marty Tripes in a bit and some other segments that we all enjoy in the show. But right now, let's get into it in the Here's the Problem segment, which is brought to you by Motion Pro. Tonight's question comes into us from George Wallace. Joe, can we do a show featuring wet and dry torque specs and fasteners, etc.? Maybe with someone like Tom Morgan or Dave Osterman or Mike Gosler. It's a subject that I find hard to get a straight answer on, but it's just a real world question. I personally like all my boats fastened and greased and Loctited, or no, he likes them greased or Loctite. Usually never dry threads on anything for me. Well, I've got a good answer for you, and it's going to be coming up a little bit later on the show. Jeff Kokoski has been working on something for us for the past, I think this will be the second installment on torque, and he's going to be answering that question in just a bit, okay? If you want to become a sponsor or a show supporter for Vintage Motocross Q&A, please contact me. You can become a monthly sponsor for $250 a month. Also, for just $49.95, you can become a show supporter. You'll get your name on the backboard. You'll get a shirt, an apron, and a poster. That all happens here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We think we have something for everybody. Thank you, Replica Motorcycle Parts and Paul Parkinson Sr. Thank you for your support and the wonderful parts that you have supplied us with at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Now, this sort of goes in with the Marty Tripes interview. It is more about an interview, but Roy just happened to bring up, before we even knew we were going to have Marty on the show tonight, a little something that he wanted to share with us. It's a short video, and well, let's just get it right on, and you'll see a little bit more about what Roy has for us tonight.
Hello, everybody. I'm Roy Vanderveer, and I'm hanging out in my two-stroke pro shop. And I came across this article in Cycle News that I wanted to give everybody a heads up about. It's in the March 17th edition of 2026. And it's a nice story about Billy DePrato, who is Danny Chandler's factory mechanic during his Mako years. And the thing I like about this story is it's really about Billy. It's not about Danny. They talk about Danny a little bit, but they really talk about Billy, and it's 3 pages long. Super cool article. I think everybody should take a minute to go to Cycle News and read it. And then here's the most important heads up. If you've not already subscribed to Cycle News, what are you waiting for? It's free. You get 50 issues per year. You get breaking motorcycle news, racing results, interviews, new gear, and new motorcycle reviews and comparisons. Plus, every once in a while, they take a trip back and talk about some of our heroes in the vintage community. So there you have it. The pro tip is Cycle News is free. If you don't have it, I suggest you get it. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Roy Vanderveer, for keeping us abreast on what's going on at Cycle News. And if anyone's interested, I did do an interview with Bill DePrato a few years ago. We talked a lot about his career, how he got started, and of course, his years with Danny Chandler and being a mechanic at Mako. So while that article is great, if you read it and you want a little more of the backstory, go over to Vintage Motocross Q&A on our Facebook page, go to interviews, and you'll see the Bill DePrato interview. In fact, I'll kind of bring it up and post it where you could all see it tomorrow, okay? Roy Vanderveer, great. I really, really appreciate stuff like that. Now, we have been talking to Jerry Maddox. He is once again at the races with us. Racing season is back, and Jerry Maddox has been our guy, well, in the field whenever he goes racing each year. He brought us so much great coverage last year. Last week we had Daytona. I'll bring you part 2 of Daytona next week, but right now we have a very, very special video, and it is Jerry speaking with Marty Tripes last week in Blythe, California. Marty took a couple minutes to sit down, spoke to Jerry about his early career and how things got started. So let's get right into the Marty Tripes interview with Jerry Maddox.
Good evening, everyone. I'm back from sunny Southern California, where I've been racing the Army National Round 1 in Blythe, California. And wow, was it hot in SoCal. My goodness, it's 107 degrees, but old Clunker, he rode hard, stayed together, and we pulled off some great success. But the success was not even close to being able to meet this guy right here. Enjoy. Hey, everybody. My name's Jerry Maddox, as you know. I cannot tell you how pleased I am to be hanging with this guy. Maybe you already recognize him. Maybe you don't. But if you don't, sit down. We're going to be here for a few minutes. This is the world famous Marty Tripes. Marty, thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you.
Did you say Marty Tripes is here?
I did. Marty Tripe. That's him. The most humble man I've met. And I've got to tell you, you know, and I want you to carry the interview because I'm bad to talk over you, okay? I just, as a kid, you were the first youngest guy to win Supercross. Am I right about that?
In Supercross, correct. I got my birthday. I got my professional license at June 29th, and I raced the Olympia, Washington. I think it was called Interam Series back then. The next race was July 8th or 9th. I think it was 8th. And I was 16 by 9 days.
9 days.
They say probably will never be broken. They tried to pull off that Bubba Stewart was the first. And he was 9 months when he won, and he won a support class. No disrespect to Bubba, but I've been getting the story told wrong by everybody trying to change the history of motocross for what God's reason, but no. I rode the international class. I beat the best in the world. Fortunate, lucky, young kid that didn't know any better. That's about the bottom line of that.
So, you know, and what bike were you riding on that particular
We were
day?
on brand new factory YZs.
Okay.
Don Jones developed the bike. The Japanese took the bike, and then they further developed it. The bikes were good.
So, as a kid growing up on Elsinores, everybody recognizes me with the Elsinores, and I finally got to the point where Honda had released this 78 CR250R, which kind of was a world-changing bike for us amateurs. That's when I started to know you, okay? I mean, I started going, there's another Marty in town. That's what I said, you know, and I'm not going to lie, Marty Smith was my idol to me. And then this guy comes on now. I've got 2 Martys to worry. Tell me about that era of factory Honda.
Actually, I was before Marty, during Marty, and I think when I ended was about the same time he did.
Okay.
So I went a long time.
So you're the original Marty then, if we're going to talk about this.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
There's three Martys.
Yes.
And unfortunately, Marty passed away in a stupid 2-mile-an-hour dune buggy accident.
I know. It's terrible.
Marty Moats was our
Yes, sir.
third. We all were 3 Martys. We were all 3 from San Diego. And all 3 Martys were first Americans to win 500 Grand Prix in the United States. Me, the 250, and the Unadilla. Marty Moats won Carlsbad. And Marty Smith won Mid-Ohio.
Okay.
125 GP, so little history, a little trivia. It's kind of hard to believe.
It's good to be named Marty. That's what I'm
I
saying.
guess at that time, yeah. Yeah, but it's so anyway, through the career, on and off, Honda comes out in '78 with a side piper. It's what we call a single down frame. And the bike, from any motocross rider's perspective, all you wanted to do was hurt that bike. It reeked of racing.
Yes, it did.
This bike, you
It
could
looked
look
good
at
on the
it,
stand, didn't it?
it just said, just use me.
Yeah,
Go.
I believe that.
And that bike was everything of that. The motor was unbelievable off the bottom end.
Yep.
And it carried all the way through.
It changed my life.
Very usable. We had a good bike.
Ah, gosh, I remember you riding that thing so much. It was just so. I mean, I'm sure yours was even better than the production versions that I was getting
Well,
raced.
factory bikes were around.
Sure.
You know, and that's another theory that, oh, you finally get on a team and your factory on the Yamaha, whatever. What the people get, their beginning stages making bikes better. We were the backbones of this. And just because you have a $200,000, $300,000 works bike, doesn't mean it's good. Sometimes those bikes were so bad that would come from Honda and Yamaha and different factories. They were horrible. So myself, I liked the production bike with good shocks, did some work on the front forks. Basically, we ran that thing stock.
That's amazing.
Nobody likes to believe that.
Yeah. Well,
And I could, what makes it even better for me is my production bike were my practice bikes and was my race bike.
really?
So I knew it completely.
Yes.
That's important because you can go ride a production bike in those days, then you go to the race and you're on a factory bike and it's different.
Yes, very good.
You're not trained for it. You kind of have to retrain yourself through practice and through the motos.
Wow.
Okay, so that was part one of the Marty Tripes interview. We have 2 and 3 coming up a little bit later on in the show. We're going to take a short break right now, and we'll be back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A and Marty Tripes.
I'm Brock Glover, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Gordon McCaffer, for being a show sponsor of Vintage Motocross Q&A. You can get a hold of Gordon at the number on the screen. Gordon is a certified welder, and he's been building stands for over 25 years. I have 2 of them for well over 20 years now. Gordon McCaffer. Okay, we're going to go right to trivia. Trivia is brought to you by Motorcyclist Illustrated and Mike McCook. Be sure to visit them online or on Facebook, rather, at Motorcyclist Illustrated. Tonight's prize, of course, is the 18x24 poster of Jimmy Weinert and Tony DiStefano. 18x24, suitable for framing, and those guys are accessible. You might be able to get some autographs on there as well. Now, Susie's not here with us tonight, so what you're going to do is you're going to type in the answer to the trivia question. You're going to type it in. Don't call in. You're going to type it in. Okay? Here we go. Back in 1976, there were a lot of hot rod or mod shops that were down in Southern California, including DG and FMF. At this point, DG had come up with a case-inducted YZ125C. It was an absolutely incredible bike. It looked totally different than the regular YZ125C. Had a yellow frame, a downpipe, of course, the DG head. Now, tell me this. Who was the person there at DG who developed that bike? You know who he is. He's on Facebook. He has some Bonneville Salt Flat record-holding bikes all around. Great guy, very, very knowledgeable. Who was it that came up with the case induction read for the YZ125C at DG at that time? Can you tell me? Type it into the comments. We'll be back with the answer a little bit later. I'll be looking at the comments as we go, and we'll give it to you from there, okay? In the meantime, I want to get back to the Marty Tripes interview with Jerry Maddox, and we'll take a little further look at that, and we'll get back to the show and some regular segments that we have coming up as well. Let's get on to the Marty Tripes Part 2 right now. Jerry and Marty Tripes. Here we go.
You had a very long career, and just nothing but respect. Tell me, please, what do you remember? What is your highlight moment? You know, I don't know my history well enough to already just pull it out, so I'm just real curious. There's got to be that one thing in your career that something happened. It was just like, heck yeah, this is good stuff. What would that be?
Well, I was too young. The Super Bowl / Supercross
Yes.
in the LA Coliseum '72. Everybody would say that was it.
But
I just turned 16
uh-huh.
9 days before that, and I'm beating Thorsten Hallman, Dave Vickers, and all these people as a kid at 14, posters in my bedroom, going to bed, looking at them going, wow, God, one day.
Yeah.
Well, hey, things happen, but Unadilla to me was very powerful. I'm a very big, you have Republicans, you have Democrats, and I am an American patriot.
Okay.
Big time.
All right then.
People talk bad about the United States. I'm the first one to get in the middle of that conversation.
All right.
Straighten it out.
Respect.
So I have a lot of respect. So that was up because I beat the Europeans and the first American to win over the best in the world.
So you're throwing that American flag big time that day. Of course you were.
Probably the proudest moment of my life. I was on the podium. It was, I think, Jimmy Ellis was second. I think Hannah was third. The Europeans, we left those guys that didn't have a chance. But I was up there, and there's a picture of it. And all I have is a little flag, about that big with this little stick, like a cocktail flag.
Yep.
And he's talking to me and interviewing me, and I got this little flag and I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And all I said to myself, I did good for America.
You did.
I was proud
Yes, you were.
to be full-blooded American. That was probably my proudest moment.
That is so powerful. So powerful, Marty. I understand through the grapevine that you're in the process of writing a book about your. Is this about your escapades in motocross, or your how great you were? What are we talking about?
I'm not sure we have to have a XXX version.
Okay.
Don't know, but when you guys write, the prior guys, Weinert, various McGraths and stuff, they didn't get to do the traveling we did. Yeah.
Really?
They're all flying back and forth. Mm-hmm. We drove.
Oh, so you had windshield
In the
time.
beginning, we saw the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think some states I've been over 50 times.
Oh, that's amazing.
Not a state I've never been in. But the stories that go with that, the stories of racing, life, women, booze, breakdowns, bike breakdowns, and races that should have never ended the way they did. So I have it all. I have the lows, and I had some pretty big lows, but I also had some pretty big pluses. And like Unadilla Grand Prix in '78, that was, I think, my proudest moment. So that was really good. Super Bowl at turning 16, just again like 9 days before. I was too young. I had no idea.
You didn't even know what you did, really.
No idea. All I know is that I woke up the next morning, and Mike Dill said the same thing. He won his first Super Bowl.
And
We
everybody
woke up
knows your name.
and our trophies, my father
Yeah.
put the trophy on my dresser, and Mike Bell's dad did the same thing. When you woke up, you look, and I thought it was a dream, honestly.
Really?
And there's no way. And you wake up and you're going, kind of in shock, kind of studying, your mind's going, and then realization, you want it. But what's that impact? We don't get that as much. I didn't. Mike Bell did. He got the impact. Really, for Marty Tripes, all the stuff I've done, I never acknowledge. I don't use my name like that.
Okay.
It's kind of hard writing this book because I don't sell myself. But this is about mainly for my family relatives. I don't care if it sells or not, honestly.
And I understand that, but documenting your legacy, I think is very important, Marty.
Well,
I just think your family deserves to know.
It's for family.
All right, there it is. Part 2 of the Marty Tripes interview. We will have part 3 coming up in just a bit. Right now, we are going to move on with the show. But, while I was looking at comments, in the comment section while we were talking about the trivia, I asked, who was it at DG that brainstormed this idea? Case induction for YZ125C. It was a bike like no other at the time. Yellow frame, downpipe, DG head, and of course, that incredible case reed induction. There's a good shot of it right there. A very difficult bike to find pictures of. And it looks like Doug Nemeth. Doug Nemeth had the correct answer, and the correct answer is Harry Clem. There he is, a young mad scientist, Harry Clem, on his very creation. So Doug Nemeth, get me your mailing address, and we will send you something, compliments of Vintage Motocross Q&A, probably some stickers from Susie or something else, okay? But you'll get stickers too. Doug Nemeth, get me your address. You were tonight's winner of the trivia contest, all right? Let's move on to What's It Worth? This is, of course, the part of the show where you guess how much a couple of bikes recently sold for, and I say a couple of bikes because tonight we have 2 bikes that were sold by one seller, and I'm going to tell you a bit about that in a moment. First, I got to thank Tom McAllister and Full Circle Racing for being such a sponsor and a longtime sponsor of the show. Be sure to visit them at fullcircleracing.com. Now, here are the bikes. There's actually 2 of them and a parts bike that is involved in this sale as well. You need to put in the comment section how much you think these bikes recently sold for without going over. I will try and get a look at them during the show, and we may find out tonight, actually, who got closest without going over, or else I'll post it tomorrow on the show. A pair of CR125 consists of a 1988 and a 1989 model. Both bikes finished in red and white, powered by liquid-cooled 125cc cylinder, 125cc 2-stroke singles linked to a 6-speed transmission. Equipment on each bike includes a kickstarter, can carburetor, an expansion chamber exhaust system, a leading axle fork, a ProLink monoshock, and swing arm. Disc brakes, a red vinyl seat, staggered wire-wheeled DID alloy rims. The 88 CR125s wears red black plastic bodywork, white graphics, white number plates, set over a red finished steel perimeter frame. Details include red vinyl seat and white Honda script, spring-loaded serrated foot pegs, and high-mounted fenders as well. The wire spoke wheels are did. There's a 21-inch up front, 18 on the back. There's somewhere on the knobbies, which the seller states should be replaced. Suspension consists of a leading axle Showa telescopic fork with red gators, as well as piggyback reservoir monoshock, mounted with a ProLink rising rate linkage in the box section aluminum swing arm. Braking is handled by a single disc at each end of the motorcycle. Spare and remove parts. Honda service manual, a climber manual is also included, and it's shown in the gallery. The seller states that the parts included, other than the bikes themselves, consist of a Millennium Technologies crankshaft, numerous Pro X pistons in stock sizes, and that's it. Cylinder, crankshaft, but he's got a picture of a lot of parts here in this ad as well. Let's get a look at them. Now, we've got some wheels, clutches, cases, probably enough. From what he says, there's enough there to put that third bike together, with the exception of the left side case. So plenty of parts, 2 bikes. There's some more pictures of the parts, and just overall, nice looking race bikes. Complete, don't appear to be abused. You could see a little paint worn off the frame there. Great job on the detailing for the pictures. Great job on the pictures. You get some really good close-up shots here, and there's over 185 pictures that this guy posted when he went to sell the bike. So how much do you think these two motorcycles together in the same package recently sold for? 8,000? 7,000? 6,500? These two bikes sold for $5,800 yesterday. $5,800 for two complete Honda CR125s and about 85 to 90% of a parts bike. Just 5,800 bucks. That was on Bring a Trailer, and whoever gets closest without going over will get some stickers and some goodies from us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Okay? We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A, as well as the third segment of the Marty Tripes interview. Okay? We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Donnie Hanson. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we'll be right back.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why.
When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me.
Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new. And yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
We still got the Did You Know segment coming up and a few more things. But right now, let's get to part 3 of the Marty Tripes interview with Jerry Maddox.
About everything I've done. There's a lot of things I've done in different sports that people don't know about. If it wasn't for Marty Tripes, my name, there would be no paintball in the world.
Really?
Guarantee you. Advanced standards, they still use today. I did a lot in paintball.
And see, I think that's interesting, folks. You see Marty and then some no name like me, and you just associate us with motocross. But I can promise you in my personal life, and I know your personal life, there's a big broad spectrum out there. It's got nothing to do with a motorcycle, but you know, here we are on Vintage Motocross Day, and we're, you know, and you were a legend in that. So, but I could sit here and interview you all day about your backside of your life if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's weird about all this is it's never been accepted by me. People tell me all this stuff, and just like, but now I'm writing this book. It's kind of
will it be a tell-all?
Stupid at 69 years old.
Will it be a tell-all? I mean, you
there's
can't tell
quite a
everything,
bit.
but you know, will it expose some of your
It
weaknesses?
will for sure. And I don't mind that. That's called mistakes.
Yep.
And hopefully maybe others learn from it or whatever.
Yep.
Be inspired, hopefully. But you know, it's like my writer, he goes, do you realize that you're a 3-time world champion in 3 different sports?
Oh, really?
What are you
Would you
talking
name
about?
those 3 sports for me, please? I can guess
Well,
one of them.
He goes, the LA Coliseum was only one race, but the world's best were there.
Yep.
That's considered a world championship.
All right, there's one.
I'm going, are you nuts? My writer's Ed Stillman. He's doing a good job. I never looked at it this way. And then in paintball, our team, 88, 89, and 90, we were world champions. Guns of Navarone.
Did you hear that? Marty Tripes, world champion, paintball expert.
And then
We didn't know that, did we?
then
So there's 2.
Off-road indoor stadium cars, Mickey Thompson.
Yeah.
And this was kind of, I think after the fact of Mike Goodwin. I can't remember the timing on that.
Okay.
But I won the world championship in that class.
Now,
Unlimited single-seater. Our cars were like 1,100 pounds with 200 plus horsepower. I could wheelie that thing through the bumps,
That's funny.
looking out the side port with the cutting ring
That's,
through the hoops.
that's just
like
awesome.
Supercross.
Yeah. And this
In a
is
car.
indoor stadium racing.
Houston, Vancouver, Montreal, Dallas, Anaheim Stadium.
Yes.
We went over to San Diego. So I've never looked at it, never
Yeah.
even thought about it. But my rider's making me aware of what I've done that I've never, not accepted, just don't realize.
Well, Marty, they just called mine and your name over the intercom. We are expected to do other due diligence. Folks, I just cannot tell you how happy I am to be able to interview Marty Tripes. It's, those that know me, I have interviewed some great people in the world, and all of them are fantastic. Marty, you're special, my friend.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time on Honda. Thank you for your time of being a kid, dreaming about being a motocross champion,
yeah.
although you knocked that out pretty quick. And
Very fortunate, very fortunate.
And thank you for helping me out today and giving me some good, honest consulting on my Elsinore. And he did, and I'll talk about that another
I
time.
basically got told to fuck off
Nah, no, you didn't.
a little bit.
Yeah, no. But anyway, thank you, Marty. Thank you
Hey,
so
Tom,
much
thank you.
again, my friend. And but we've got other due diligence to do now. But I'll be right back, and hopefully we'll talk about Blythe, California Shorties Vintage Motocross and how it went for me today. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Holy shit! Oh my God, Marty! I apologize with 1,000th degree. Okay, turn around. So here's what happened.
I got you on video.
This dude is trying to give me advice. I don't have time for his crap. And then he says, "Well, my name's Marty Tripes." I said, "Oh shit!"
I didn't say that.
Well, you said
the
Tripes.
100 class.
No, you said Tripes, and I said, "I'm sorry." Man, sometimes, folks, you eat crow. Goodbye.
That's funny.
Marty, you're awesome.
It's all
dude,
good.
I mean, you just gave me a story for my TV show.
There you go. I got it.
Because I've been waiting on you to show up all day. I had no idea. That's our show, folks. Gotta go. I'm off to Louisiana for Arma Nationals round 2. Thank you, Marty Tripes, for your humbleness. Great time, great stories. What can I say? He is an amazing man. Thank you again, and thank you for this show. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a great day.
There you have it, Marty Tripes and Jerry Maddox. I want to thank Jerry Maddox for taking the time to get to the races all the way out here in California, always representing Vintage Motocross Q&A and his sponsors. And of course, Marty Tripes, who I hope to sit down with one day for an extended interview. That would be just wonderful. In the meantime, I have to thank our sponsor, Amsoil. All right. And it's not just oil. They've got some great lubricants, some cleaners, glass cleaners, some great products for you Second Amendment supporters, and just all around great products. It's something there for everybody that you'll need in your shop, guaranteed. And right now, 25% off all Amsoil products. That's 25% off. That's just about dealer cost or free shipping, depending on how you look at it. Go to theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. That's theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. Did you know? Well, did you know by Jeff Kokoski? In the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about torque, and we had a question come up a little bit earlier in the show about torquing bolts that are wet, torquing bolts that are dry. Anyway, we're going to move on with that right now. And yeah, here's what Jeff has contributed to the show this week. Torque. Essentially, torque is the push or pull that causes an object to accelerate around its axis. Did you know how bolt tightening torque differs from engine torque? Last week, we talked about how the concept of quantifying rotational forces came about, and that there are two types of torque that the do-it-yourself mechanic is most familiar with: tightening a bolt and the energy output of an engine. These two types of torque fundamentally use the same dimensions or units, but that is where the similarities end and things get slightly complicated after that. Common examples are vectors, are velocity when given a direction, acceleration, and forces such as weight or friction. Typical scalars are time, temperature, volume, and speed when there is no direction given. So when you tighten a bolt, you impart a force, your muscle or wrench to rotate the object or nut around the axis, the bolt, which gives it specific magnitude, how strong the twist is, and a direction, the axis of rotation around the bolt, making it a vector quantity. Maximum torque occurs when the force is perpendicular to the lever arm or the wrench. Engine torque, on the other hand, is rotational force. It's created by an engine when the combustion in a cylinder applies a downward force on the engine's crankshaft. As the engine produces torque, it spins the crankshaft that's connected to the transmission. The gears on the transmission convert the torque, allow the vehicle to move forward. Torque is often considered the grunt of an engine as it determines the engine's ability to perform the work. In the study of physics, work in this case is when energy is transferred to another object. So the more force applied to the crankshaft, the more work or torque the vehicle can produce. So think about it this way. Torque measures how hard something is twisting at a specific moment, while energy measures how much work can be done while that's all going on. Now, the dimensional units related to both types of torque make it even more confusing. Torque has the dimensional of force times distance, the SI or international system of units, or as we Americans call it, the metric system is fairly simple. Rotational torque when tightening a bolt is twisted as Newton meter in SI. Newton is the SI unit for a force that can accelerate a mass and is named after Isaac Newton in recognition of his laws of motion. Most people recognize meters as the SI base unit for distance. In this case, the engine torque, the SI unit for energy, or is the joule, Joule, named after the English physicist named James Prescott Joule. Although dimensionally a Newton meter is equivalent to a joule, SI differentiates the two in order to prevent confusion between the two types of torque. But in the imperial system of units that we typically use in this country is where things get confusing and even debatable when discussing torque and energy. With rotational torque, when tightening a bolt, this is the picture here. Okay, fine. With rotational torque and tightening a bolt is defined as a force of distance. The American system of units should define torque as foot-pound or pound-inch. However, if you are as old as me and grew up in the 70s in high school shop class or physics class, you were taught that rotational torque was the unit of foot-pound or inch-pound. However, it's been over the last generation or so that the original use of the foot-pound has started to become more normal in the U.S. If you look in the motorcycle shop manual for an Austrian or Japanese motorcycle produced in the last 20 years, you'll see the correct SI unit of Newton meter, as well as pound-foot for torque specs and not foot-pound. Don't be surprised if you pick up a torque wrench to see units listed as foot-pounds. Old habits seem to break very, very hard. Historically, imperial units engine torque as it relates to work or the muzzle energy of a bullet have been listed as foot-pounds, which may have been derived to differentiate it from rotational torque. Well, except for American automotive engineers, where the SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers, list engine torque as foot-pound. We Americans are a fickle bunch. To avoid confusion, it is not uncommon for people to specify each as foot-pounds of energy or foot-pound of torque, respectively. Next time in our final installment on torque, we'll discuss the torque wrench, how it came about. Spoiler alert, it's not as old as you might think. Jeff Kokoski. I must have gotten the information confused. I did mention in the beginning of the show, we were talking about wet and dry specs for torque. This was a little bit different, and it certainly was very, very informative. I do want to include that in the next segment, Jeff, if you possibly can. And I want to be able to answer. That's not the first time I had that question. I think Craig Smolin had sent that question in before George Wallace did even. And we just never had a minute to get around to it. And that's that. But we will. Okay? Thank you, Jeff Kokoski. And now we know. On a sad note, Jeff Smith passed away last week. And Jeff Smith, a two-time motocross world champion. But there were also some other things that Jeff actually accomplished. And this is from Trials Magazine, that they were sad to report the passing of Jeff Smith, MBE. Does anybody know what MBE means? I do, and I'm going to tell you in a minute. Anyway, he passed away at home this weekend in the USA, a true legend of the world of motorcycling. He won the FIM 500cc Motocross World Championship in 1964 and 65. In the world of motorcycle trials, he won the ACU British Trials Championship in 53 and 54, the Scottish 6-day trials in 55, and the Scott Trial in 54 and 59. He also has 8 gold medals to his name in international 6-day trials. Such was his all-around ability on a motorcycle. Our condolences go out, of course, to the Jeff Smith family and to all his fans around the world. Jeff Smith takes the last lap. MBE. What is MBE? I had to write it down because I knew it had something to do with, well, it's not quite like being knighted, but it is given to you by the monarchy. And MBE is the Member of Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. It's an official honor awarded by the British monarch to recognize outstanding contributions to society. Established in 1917, it's the 3rd highest rank in the Order of the British Empire, following the Commander of the Order, the British Empire, and the Officer Order of the British Empire. Recipients of the MBE are typically recognized for their significant achievements or services to the community, which have had a long-term and significant impact. I would certainly say that Jeff Smith absolutely did do that. Our condolences once again to Jeff Smith. We are going to take a short commercial break. We're going to hear from the International Motocross Museum, and we will be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Marty Tripes. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online at the internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. All of your purchases, any of your donations are all 100% tax deductible. And if you hadn't noticed, there is a new International Motocross Museum YouTube channel. Terry has posted about 4 or 5 bikes up there, a real in-depth look at some of the greatest motorcycles in the world. And the hits are absolutely outstanding. I mean, this one had 12,000 views in 3 days, but he's gotten some other ones that have been up there recently, and some of them hit over 25,000 in a day. International Motocross Museum now on YouTube. Got a chance to look through the comments while we were going through some of the videos and the commercials. It appears to me that Robert Curet was the first one to say $5,800, $5,800 on the 2 CR125 Elsinores Hondas that were sold. $5,800. Robert Curet, get me your mailing address, and we'll get you something from Vintage Motocross Q&A. Time for the announcements. The announcements are brought to you by the International Motocross Museum. If you want to become a supporter of Vintage Motocross Q&A, you can do so for a one-time fee of just $50, all right? And for that $50, you get a beautiful poster, 18 by 24, that is long out of print. That's the Tony DiStefano Jimmy Weiner poster. You also get a t-shirt that retails for $25. They come in black, yellow, and gray. They could actually be made in any color, and you can get either the cartoon logo by Kurt Evans or our Vintage Motocross Q&A logo. That's just $49.95, and you get your name up on the board behind me for 90 days. All right, not a bad deal. George Ackerman's got a great event coming up. That all happens in Rutherford Glen, Virginia on Church Road, okay? And that is the second annual Moto Barn Mini Bike and Quad Show. That is coming up. The date is right there. So if you want to get down to Rutherford Glen, Virginia, you do that. George Ackerman puts on one heck of a show, free food, lots of drinks, and some really, really cool bikes as well. Midwest has their Vintage Motocross schedule out. First race happens May 2nd and 3rd. That's rounds 1 and 2. We got round 3 coming up in June. That is a 3-day event, and we are edging closer to one of NorCal's biggest events, the CZ World Championship. That is a 3-day event. There's a bike show. There's practice. There's just about a class for everybody, no matter what type of bike you want to bring there. That's the CZ World Championship, and that is happening April 24th, 25th, and 26th. What else we got going on? We've got my good friends back in the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, American Classic Racing, Vintage, and they've got some really good events going on too, including Cycle Club. They've got the Unadilla MX Rewind. They're a big part of that. Thank you, Mikey P, and everyone there who helps out with getting and keeping vintage moving in a progressive manner out there in the Northeast. That wraps it up for tonight's Vintage Motocross Q&A. I hope you enjoyed the show. I want to thank Jerry Maddox again for bringing us that great footage with Marty Tripes. And now that that's been shown, I will post those separately so you'll be able to see that. A little bit earlier in the show, we talked about Billy DiPrato in Cycle News. I will repost the Billy DiPrato interview so you can see it. Be a good time to maybe read the interview on Cycle News and then take a look at my interview with Billy as well. Okay? Susie's inside. We're having a guest for dinner tonight. I don't know. Hey, Jean, Sue! Oh, my God. You better lay off the macaroni, Gino. All right? We will see you next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share the show whenever you can. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We will see you next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A.